Hi, boys and girls. How many of you have dogs as pets?
I have a dog.
You do? Can you describe what your dog looks like?
My dog is yellow and she's short and she's chubby.
Sounds like a lovely dog. Well, you know what? I have a dog at home, but my dog looks different from your dog. My dog is black and pretty tall and has a long tail, and her fur is pretty short. I actually brought a picture. This is my dog.
Aww.
Yeah. Anyway, and then my sister also has a dog, but her dog looks different too. Her dog is really short, and he's white, and he's really furry, and he's got a short tail. And I brought a picture of him too. So this is what her dog looks like. So all these dogs look really different, right?
Yeah.
They're different in size, they're different in color, but they're all dogs. Well, today we're going to talk about some dogs. But how we're going to do it is we are going to use our imaginations, because we've been working on using our imaginations to make pictures and mind movies while we're reading, right? So what is that called when we use pictures and mind movies when we are reading?
Visualizing?
Yes, visualizing. And why should we visualize? Why is that important?
So we can understand the story better.
Exactly. So today we're going to read a story called Black Dog. And while we read, I want you to imagine how the places, the characters, and the actions in the book might look, sound, smell, feel, or taste. And while we're reading, you might want to close your eyes so that you can make your imagination work better. But if you do that, I want you to remember to open your eyes sometimes so that you can see how the pictures in your head might look different or similar to the pictures that are in the book. Okay. So, we are going to be reading this book called Black Dog. Now, this book is called Black Dog, but do you see a black dog anywhere on this cover?
No.
That's right, I didn't see one either. And so when I looked at this book and saw that it was called Black Dog, but that there was no black dog on the cover, I started imagining what the black dog in this book might look like. And I decided that the black dog in this book might look a lot like my black dog. All right, so we are going to read Black Dog by Levi Tinfold. One day, a black dog came to visit the Hope family. Mr. Hope was the first to see it. "My goodness!" he cried, dropping his toast. He didn't waste any time in calling the police. "There's a black dog the size of a tiger outside my house," he told the policeman. The policeman laughed. "What should I do?" asked Mr. Hope. "Don't go outside," said the policeman, and put down the phone. Mrs. Hope was next to get up. "My goodness!" she cried, dropping her mug of tea. She didn't waste any time in calling for Mr. Hope. "Did you know there's a black dog the size of an elephant outside?" she yelled. "Yes," said Mr. Hope. "What should we do?" asked Mrs. Hope. "Turn out the light so it doesn't know we're here," said Mr. Hope. Adeline Hope was the next to get up. "My goodness!" she cried, dropping her toothbrush. She didn't waste any time in calling for her parents. "Did you know there's a black dog the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex outside?" "Yes," said Mr. and Mrs. Hope together. "What should we do?" asked Adeline. "Close the curtains so it can't see us." Now, we just heard Adeline Hope say that this black dog was as big as a T-Rex. That's pretty big. But before that, we heard Mr. Hope say that this black dog was as big as a tiger, and then we heard Mrs. Hope say that it was as big as an elephant. Now, when I imagine how a black dog gets to be the size of a tiger, and then an elephant, and then a T-Rex, I imagine this dog starting out as a normal size black dog. Kind of like my dog at home. And then I think that of that same dog growing as big as a tiger. And then that same dog growing as big as an elephant. Kind of like the tigers and elephants that I've seen in zoos. And then I imagine that same dog growing even bigger to be the size of a T-Rex. Kind of like the T-Rexes that I've seen in museums. That's how I imagine that big dog becoming that big. Maurice Hope was the next to get up. "My goodness," he cried, dropping his teddy bear. He didn't waste any time in calling for the family. "Did you know there's a black dog the size of a big Jeffy outside?" "What's a big Jeffy?" asked Adeline Hope. "Never mind that. What should we do?" demanded Maurice Hope. "Hide under the covers," they all wailed. Now, does anyone have any idea how big a big Jeffy might be?
I think it's bigger than a big, big building, like the ones in cities.
Like skyscrapers? You think it's that tall? It could be. I think it could be. Do you have any idea what a big Jeffy might look like?
I bet it's big and fluffy and has horns.
Ooh, it might. All right, let's keep reading. It was then that the youngest member of the Hope family, called Small for short, noticed that there was something going on. "What are you all doing under there?" "We're hiding from the black dog," they whispered. "Oh, you are such sillies," said Small, opening the front door. "Don't go out there," cried her family. "The hound will eat you up. It'll munch your head. It'll crunch your bones." But Small went anyway. Outside, the black dog leaned down toward her and breathed. "Golly, you are big," said Small. "What are you doing here, you guffin?" The black dog snuffed at her. Now, when you see this picture of this big black dog, what do you imagine this black dog might smell like, or feel like, or sound like?
I bet it smells like my dog when it gets wet. It smells really gross.
I know that wet dog smell you're talking about. I bet lots of other people that have dogs know what you're talking about too. "All right then," she said. "If you're going to eat me, you'll have to catch me first." And with that, she scurried into the lowering trees. As she ran, she made up a song. "You can't follow where I go unless you shrink, or don't you know?" And the black dog followed. As Small hurried towards the frozen pond, under the little bridge, and over the ice, she sang, "Your paws are thick, ice is thin, a great big dog just might fall in." And the black dog followed. Now, does anyone have any visualizations of what it might look like if the black dog did fall through the ice?
I bet it would be really loud and there'd be a lot of water everywhere and it would be really, really cold.
I think you'd be right. Let's see where the black dog follows her to. Next, she scurried through the playground, down the slide, and around the merry-go-round, singing, "You might be big, I may be small, but I'm not afraid of you at all." And the black dog followed. Finally, Small had run all the way back to her house. "You'll find out why they all hide if you follow me inside." And with that, Small tumbled into her warm home through the cat flap. She really was that small. And so, by now, was the black dog. Inside, Small grabbed a laundry basket, and, as the black dog scrabbled in behind her, she covered him with a loud "Ha!" Just then, the rest of the Hope family popped up from behind their barricade. "You haven't been munched!" cried Mrs. Hope. "You haven't been crunched!" cried Mr. Hope. "You haven't been eaten!" yelled Maurice Hope, missing a poetic opportunity. "But where's the black dog?" asked Adeline. Without a word, Small lifted the basket. The rest of the Hope family was extremely pleased to see that the black dog was neither as huge nor as scary as they had feared. "He doesn't seem fierce at all now that I really look at him," said Mr. Hope. The rest of the family agreed. "We were silly," said Adeline. "Only Small knew the right thing to do." Everyone was quiet for a while, thinking about how brave Small had been. "You've got a lot of courage facing up to a big, fearsome thing like that," said Mrs. Hope. "There was nothing to be scared of, you know," replied Small Hope as she went to sit by the fire. And the black dog followed. The end. Now, that was a pretty good book, right?
Yeah.
And while we were reading that book, a lot of you had some really good visualizations. And some of those were similar to some of the pictures that we saw in the book, and some were different. So, does anyone remember what happened in the beginning of the book?
A big black dog appeared.
That's right. And how did the Hope family feel about that big black dog
They were
showing up?
really, really scared.
That's right. But what happened by the end of the book?
The big black dog was small.
And the Hope family realized that there wasn't really anything to be afraid of in the first place, right?
Right.
Exactly. Now, while we were reading that book and finding out what happened at the beginning and what happened at the end, what strategy were we using while we were reading?
Visualization.
That's right. And why is it important for us to use a strategy like visualization as we're reading a book?
So we can understand the story better.
That's right. Now tomorrow we're gonna practice visualizing more by writing our own stories and then having our friends help us draw pictures to visualize those stories, to go along with those stories. Now, we're going to keep practicing visualization because visualization is an important way for us to understand and connect with stories. So great job reading today, guys, and visualizing.